Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a little while since I've last filmed. The last video I believe that I filmed was my gender reveal, which was now 9 weeks ago. So today's video is going to be a first trimester and second trimester update. I didn't have the chance to film a first trimester update because, as you'll hear in this video, I really just didn't have the energy for it, and I was kind of sick during my first trimester. And now I am in my last week of my second trimester. According to my doctor anyway, I am entering into my third trimester Saturday when I'm 28 weeks. So I figured now would be the best time to film an update for both. So if you guys are interested in this video, please like, comment, and subscribe below. Okay, so I am going to film my first trimester symptoms in one part and my second trimester symptoms in another, and I will insert a picture of me, if I can find one, around 12 weeks pregnant, which is my last week of my first trimester here. So I'm going to consider my first trimester in this video from when I found out I was pregnant to the end of my first trimester. So I found out on September 20th that I was pregnant. That was when I was technically 3 weeks pregnant and 2 days, I believe. And my first trimester ended on November 26th. Also, if you guys hear my dog in the background, it's because Chris is working tonight and she's with me all night. So part one is my first trimester common symptoms. I'm not gonna list every single one I had because I had so many, but I'm gonna talk about the main ones and even tell stories about some of them just because I have some interesting stories to go along with some of them. So my first symptom was nausea. I think I was nauseous my entire first trimester. I honestly, a lot of the times, like, I was nauseous but didn't have relief as far as puking goes. Now, I don't like puking, but there were times where I kind of wished I could have just puked just to feel some kind of relief from the nausea. Going into symptom number two, I had a lot of morning sickness. So I can say I'm very grateful I wasn't like some of the women that I hear where they have like all day sickness and it lasts like through their first trimester and even into their second trimester. I was very lucky. I had mostly nausea, but when I did have morning sickness, it was pretty rough. I mainly had morning sickness between weeks 7 to 9, and I think the worst of it was when I was away on vacation. So my poor friends Kelly and Catherine, like, they dealt with me at like the worst, at the peak of my morning sickness. We left for Disney and Universal October 27th through November 5th. So I was 8 weeks and 4 days, and our trip ended when I was technically 10 weeks because we got back like really late on the following week. Let me just say, Disney saw a lot of my morning sickness, unfortunately. Like, most of it was nausea, but there was one time we were in the Star Wars land in Disney World, and I just could tell that I was going to puke. I could tell that it was coming on, and thankfully my friends had walked away for a split second to use the bathroom or go on a ride or something, because I puked all over the ground in the Star Wars land and it was disgusting. I literally had to go up to a worker and have him like look at it, and then he gave me like a bottle of Sprite to kind of curb the nausea. And after that, the only thing that I really wanted was like Olive Garden's soup and salad, and that's exactly what I ate because I couldn't really eat much else. But for the most part with the morning sickness, it was mostly like I wasn't keeping down anything. Like, I couldn't even keep down water. If I drank water, I was puking up bile some days. And then I think there was one occurrence that I ate like vegetarian fried rice and I started feeling like really overheated and very feverish, and as soon as I sat up, I had a bad case of morning sickness. They also almost sent me to the ER to pump me with fluids because I wasn't keeping water down. Thankfully they never had to, but it was rough. The only thing that they advised was buying either lemon or lime, like ice pops, Pedialyte ice pops. Drinking lemonade, believe it or not, really helped me. So the lemon really did wonders for me. I ate a lot of lemon ice pops, and it was weird because even when I was in Disney, when I was feeling sick, like water didn't really help with the nausea. Lemonade did, which is strange because of all the sugar. But yeah, that was basically most of my morning sickness. It was a lot of nausea, but then I had a lot of bursts of morning sickness, mostly when I was on vacation. I even puked on, I think, the airplane going to Disney and Universal. So yeah, my friends dealt with a lot. Symptom number 3 was exhaustion. It was really bad in the very beginning of my pregnancy. I can't say it's fully gone yet. We'll talk about that more. But I mean, there were days like I would be working and I would just be like, I have to take a nap, because I couldn't even keep my eyes open during meetings. I was falling asleep left and right. But yeah, that was a pretty big symptom in the beginning, as well as number 4, breast growth and soreness. I remember in the very early stages of pregnancy, like if Chris hugged me and like squeezed too tight, like my boobs hurt so bad. I have had sore boobs when I've had my periods and stuff like that, but it was like nothing like that. Like it felt like they were bruised. It was so bad. Like that was, once I knew I was pregnant, that's when I felt those symptoms. So that one was really bad. So number 5 were headaches. I have always been kind of on and off with migraines and or just sinus headaches. I actually used to have somewhat chronic migraines, but I used to have so many headaches in my first trimester of pregnancy. They were almost debilitating, and I know they say you can take Tylenol when you're pregnant, but I didn't want to take anything in my first trimester, or I haven't taken any pain medication at all this pregnancy. The only medications I've taken obviously were prenatals and vitamin B6, and that's what I used to curb my nausea and morning sickness. And then number 6, in the very beginning, very early stages of pregnancy, probably through most of the first trimester until I really started showing, I felt like bloated. Like I didn't feel like pregnant yet. Obviously in the very beginning stages of pregnancy, you really don't feel pregnant because you don't feel the baby at all because they're so small. I just felt extremely bloated, and that made the nausea worse, honestly. Like the nausea and the bloat just like went hand in hand for me. Like my first trimester was rough between the morning sickness, nausea, and the bloat. So this one was a bit, so it was a little unconventional, a little bit TMI. So if you're not really interested in hearing this, you can skip to number 8. I have gastro problems. I've had some stomach problems for years, but I had a lot of diarrhea in the beginning of my pregnancy. Like I wasn't keeping anything down, so I was always constantly dehydrated. No matter what I would hydrate myself with, I was sick, which is one of the reasons they almost sent me to the ERs, because I wasn't keeping any fluids down. So that one was a really rough symptom for me. We'll talk about that. Unfortunately, there's more TMI in my second trimester update, but that has been a consistent symptom. So number 8, I had one really big aversion, and that was coffee. I couldn't even smell it. I couldn't even go into Starbucks and get a coffee, because just the smell of Starbucks coffee alone would make me super nauseous. So another thing, the nausea and the morning sickness went hand in hand with my aversion to coffee. I lived off of the strawberry acai refreshers and the pink drink the entire time that I was in Disney and Universal, and water. Those were the only things I could drink from there, because just even on the airplane, just the smell of Kelly's coffee just made me want to puke, and I think that actually did make me puke when I was on the plane. So that's another thing that kind of went hand in hand with the nausea, the morning sickness, and the bloating and everything, was that aversion to coffee. And it took well into my second trimester for me to desire coffee, or even to be able to stomach it. And even then, the only thing that sounds good coffee-wise to me is iced cold brew. It's the only thing I can drink. Don't know why, but it's the only kind of coffee drink I can have. So that one wasn't so fun, especially because I was so tired all the time. Number 9, on top of aversions to coffee, I had cravings. So my 3 main cravings for my first trimester were chicken Caesar wraps, which seems like such a random craving, garden salads with Italian dressing, and then pasta visual soup. They were my 3 main cravings. I mean, I haven't had any strange cravings. I think even now, the only kind of like random craving I've had, which I haven't had them in a long time, was cinnamon Teddy Grahams, and I don't remember the last time I've eaten those. So yeah, most of my cravings were salty cravings. I didn't even have a desire for sugar unless it was dark chocolate. And like now, I'll eat cookies and stuff like that, no problem. I love cookies. Could not do that my first trimester. Like, sugar just did not appeal to me. So that's number 9. Number 10, which you can probably hear a lot of it now. From the beginning of my pregnancy, and this is carried into now, as you can hear, I've had a lot of congestion with a lot of bloody mucus. With it being winter right now, that doesn't help. I mean, I haven't had bloody noses or anything, it's just bloody mucus when I blow my nose. But the congestion has been pretty consistent. So there's 2 more symptoms for my first trimester, and then I'll move on to my second trimester. So number 11, it sounds kind of weird, but it goes along with because the bump was growing. My butt grew. In the very beginning, I didn't carry in just like my belly. Like, I grew everywhere. I grew in my chest, I grew in my hips, I grew in my backside, I grew everywhere, which is why so many people thought I was having a girl. I was carrying all around. Well, I'm not having a girl, I'm having a boy. I'll insert pictures for the next part for what my belly looks like now, and now I'm starting to carry more like I'm having a boy. I'm carrying more in the front. But before, I was carrying all around, so I was throwing everyone off with the way I was carrying. For a little while, I really thought I was having a girl too. But yeah, my butt has grown a lot, and so have my hips. And then finally, along with the exhaustion, was decreased energy and the affected ability to exercise. I don't think I went to Orange Theory one time during my first trimester because on top of the nausea and the morning sickness and everything, I was just too tired. Like, I would schedule a class and then I would like I would have to cancel because I couldn't physically get up. I just needed to relax. And I just didn't feel well being nauseous too. So like my exercise was just like not there my first trimester. It's still not 100% like how I was going before because my endurance kind of is terrible. And I'll talk about that more with other symptoms too that are related, but it's gotten a little bit better. So that is my first trimester. Let's move on to part 2, which is my second trimester symptoms. Okay, so this is part 2 of my first and second trimester update. So now we're going to talk about my second trimester, and let me see if I can get like a bump shot, and I'll insert a picture as well from me currently at 27 weeks. But let me show you how this bump is looking. It's looking big. I mean, can you tell? It's really grown a lot. I mean, you can tell with the bump there. But yeah, he's really popped out today. I am currently 27 weeks 1 day, so he was bound to pop at some point. So I have 14 symptoms that either have a story behind them or they've been really consistent. So my second trimester went from November 27th. It's going until March 11th. So this Friday is my last day of my second trimester. So we've talked about this. My main symptom for my second trimester has also been fatigue. So that's number 1. I've been so tired. I think I have slightly more energy than I did my first trimester, and that's slightly. I am constantly tired. Trying to wake up in the morning to like sign into my computer is a chore. There have been days where I've actually taken time off because I just needed to sleep and just rest, and my body was demanding that I sleep. So that is symptom number 1 for my second trimester as well. And then number 2, this one's kind of exciting. My second trimester, I started experiencing the beginnings of like baby flutters. It felt like I said, like you have butterflies in your stomach. It was kind of a cool sensation. I don't quite remember at the moment when they started. I think I was maybe 14, 15 weeks when it started, but like I didn't really know what it was much. I mean, it was very early on in my pregnancy, and obviously no one else could feel that but me, because even now at 27 weeks, like some people are just starting to feel him, because his movements, they feel strong to me, but they're very light for everyone else. So like no one could feel him at 15 weeks when he little baby butterfly flutters. But to me, that was the coolest sensation, was feeling him starting to move around in there. And then piggybacking off that, number 3, this trimester I've experienced a lot of baby movement. I mean, I have been starting, even recently, very recently, been starting to see my belly move around when he's kicking. Like he's actually moving my belly all over the place. I mean, he's head down, he's extremely low, so he's kicking everywhere. I've actually noticed where he's situated, I have a darker line, like the pigment on my stomach is a slightly darker color on my lower body where he's situated and where he's kicking, which is kind of cool. And I mean, he now he's starting to kick when I'm walking around. Normally it's if I'm driving or if I'm laying down is when he kicks. He just kicks regardless of what I do now. He likes to be noticed. That's been like the coolest part of the pregnancy for me, is literally seeing him moving around and kicking and everything like that. So number 4, I'm pretty sure you can hear it. I have had a lot of shortness of breath. It's hard just going up the 2 flights of stairs that I have in this apartment. I mean, my dog just books it up the stairs after I take her out, but I'm like walking in slow-mo and I hold on to the railing very tight because I don't want to fall. My center of gravity is definitely very different these days. So I just have to take more time, and if I push too much, like if I play with my dog for like a minute or so, I am out of breath. Like she could run for hours and hours, but I am out of breath within a minute. That's been one of my not so glamorous symptoms of my second trimester. And then number 5 has been difficulty like getting comfortable in bed and or sleeping. I actually purchased a body pillow. I don't even remember how long ago. It's probably been like a month now. And even then, even with the body pillow, or if I sleep with a pillow between my legs, it's still uncomfortable. I toss and turn all night. I will fall asleep very early. Like I'll fall asleep like between like, for me early is like 10, but I'll fall asleep between like sometimes 9 or so, and I'll wake up around midnight. And then I have insomnia because I'm so uncomfortable, like I can't physically sleep. And I will be so exhausted even though I'm uncomfortable that I will just fall asleep in the morning because my body just needs sleep. But it's very hard for me to get comfortable. And that goes along with number 6, which is back pain. I've had a ton of lower back pain, and it's because he's situated so low. And I've had back pain because I have scoliosis like for years, but it's been harder and more uncomfortable because he's literally putting pressure on my back. And as you can tell, I'm like twisting my back and trying to get comfortable, which is really hard for me. So that was number 6. And we'll talk about why I've had the back pain. I found out about that very recently. So number 7, this one was a one-time occurrence, but because it has a story to it and kind of like a background, I figured it would be interesting to include for those who are going through their second trimester and it's not all rainbows and butterflies, because I always heard that the second trimester is supposed to be super easy and your easiest trimester, but honestly it hasn't been that easy for me, and I figured other people would relate if they have very similar experiences to me. So I don't remember the exact date. It wasn't too long ago, but I had an incident of food poisoning. So it might have been when we came back, my husband and I went to Gettysburg the beginning of February. I believe that's when this was. And we had a delivery from like a local farm or something, and we had milk in a freezer bag. And that day, I think it was like 50, 60 degrees. And, you know, we didn't think anything of it because, you know, usually milk in a freezer bag can hold up for a little while because it's over ice and it was over ice in a freezer bag. But I drank the milk with some cereal the following day, and maybe about a half hour later, I was starting to get very sharp cramps in my stomach. Like, I mean, it was bad. It took a very long time to actually puke anything up, but when I did, it was bad. I think I ate, which is probably not my greatest idea, but it was the only like brothy soup I could find that was just broth and or just soft and what didn't have a lot of like vegetables in it. I ate a can of tomato soup because that normally actually helps my stomach, and that's what did it. That's what helped get what was bothering my stomach out. So I wound up puking up an entire can of soup, which is a little bit TMI, but like I said, I figured people would, or women could relate to me being very honest about how my second trimester has been. So I thought I was going to be all in the clear because, you know, I let out everything that I had eaten. But no, I actually started developing acid reflux a couple hours later, and I mean, it was an all-night experience. I think I was trying to like fight it, and then eventually I was like, I sat up because I was just kind of waiting for the acid to just come out. And I think it was 4 a.m. I was laying on the couch to not disturb Chris when he had to work the next day. I had a garbage can on the ground, and literally as soon as I sat up, a bunch of stomach acid came out. I mean, I was like, I think I puked 4 times of stomach acid. It was horrible. So that one was a not so glamorous story of my second trimester, but like I said, I figured I would include it even though it was like a one-time thing and it was done. Since then though, I've noticed I've had kind of here and there some occurrences of acid reflux. I just get the sensation in my throat, like a swelling in my throat, which is very uncomfortable, but like nothing comes out. So I kind of figured that was something related to the acid reflux that I developed when I had food poisoning. Okay, so number 8, going back to the back pain, I found out through the chiropractor because there were times where like I couldn't even stand up straight without like excruciating sharp pain from my lower back down into my leg on my left side. So I found out through the chiropractor that I have sciatica, really, really bad pregnancy sciatica. And I felt better the next day, like after I went to the chiropractor and was aligned and everything. But I've noticed that if I overexert, like if I clean or if I lift too much stuff, I put my back out again and have really bad sciatica if I do that, and I did that fairly recently, which stinks because I need to go back to the chiropractor and I can't. But yeah, sciatica's been a really, really rough symptom for me this trimester. So, and then number 9 has been insecurity about my changing body. So I figured I would be really like open and honest about this because in the beginning of my pregnancy, I was like, I can't wait until I have this nice round belly and I can like, it looks cute, you know, because like some round bellies are really cute when people are pregnant. And I keep hearing, oh, you look so cute, you have a glow to you, you look really good pregnant. And I'm like, I'm looking at myself because, you know, I see myself more than other people do, obviously. And I just feel so insecure seeing my belly grow and grow and grow because I'm not used to having a belly. Like I've always been rather thin and had a flat stomach. And so seeing my body change, even though it's natural and it's a beautiful experience, is like a shock to me. I had body dysmorphia before I was pregnant. Like I've always suffered with. Sorry guys, my card was full, so I don't really know where my camera stopped, but kind of going back to that, I've suffered a lot with body image issues pretty much my entire life. And a lot of it was because of me. I put it on myself. It's like I look back at my prior to pregnancy body and I'm like, why was I so insecure about myself? Like I was so small. Like now I feel like most days, to be honest, I feel like a whale because I feel huge. I mean, I have a human growing in me. Don't get me wrong, I think it's so cool that women get to experience and have this inseparable bond with their baby that no one else gets to experience except for you. But at the same time, it's hard to see your body change if you're not used to seeing your body. You're used to seeing your body in a certain way. My body image just kind of took a plummet. It's been kind of hard. But like I said, I'm very thankful that my body is able to create life, and that's kind of how I try to get myself out of my funks sometimes, and my friends do the same thing. Okay, so number 10 is baby hiccups. Now, I had no idea that these were hiccups, to be honest. To me, it feels like the baby's like something's going on with him in there. It feels like the baby's like having a seizure, because it feels like they're spazzing out in one spot for like a minute or two. And I asked my mom, because apparently she had it with my older sister, and she goes, that sounds like your baby has hiccups, which I find so cool. But it's weird. It's a very weird sensation. But yeah, baby hiccups was a new thing for my second trimester. So the next two are kind of TMI. So I will leave a timestamp on the screen if you guys don't want to hear these two. But for those of you who want to hear a very honest trimester update, just, I guess, watch all the way through. But number 11 is peeing when I sneeze and cough. So I'll just sneeze and cough and just like a little bit of pee comes out. And a lot of it is because he's putting so much pressure on my bladder, because he's literally laying so low, which I've never experienced before. I used to be able to go hours without going to the bathroom. Not so much anymore. I feel a lot of pressure down there, and I have to go to the bathroom all the time. So, like I said, a TMI thing. If you don't want to hear that, you just follow the timestamp, people, and just skip ahead. And number 12, this one's kind of embarrassing to acknowledge on the internet, but like I said, I want to be very open and honest. So it hasn't happened as much as the urine thing, but I've also had a lot of issues with leaky bowel. And I don't always realize it until like I have to go to the bathroom sometimes that it happens, because it doesn't, like, it's not like I'm having an accident. It just happens, and it doesn't physically appear, which sounds very obscure, and I don't really want to go into details about it, but I'm pretty sure you can put 2 and 2 together. But it's a very nasty symptom and something I wish I didn't have. But yeah, those are my 2 like probably nastiest symptoms of my second trimester. And then number 13 is nesting. Just this past week, I've been kind of on the urge to like nest and get ready for the baby in terms of like cleaning and making sure things are really organized. I mean, I can't say everything's perfect. I still don't enjoy folding laundry, and so there's piles of clothes in my bathroom that I haven't folded, but I've been a little more on top of like vacuuming and cleaning dishes for the most part, and like just making sure things look a little more picked up and tidy and clean. I think one night when my friend came over, we had to give our dogs baths because they just got so dirty with mud. And so, I mean, obviously my shower had to be cleaned because I wasn't about to be taking a shower in a muddy tub. I went to cleaning my entire bathroom and vacuuming the entire house for 3+ hours. So yeah, my nesting is getting there, and I'm desiring to buy stuff for the baby, but we have a baby shower coming up, and I'm trying to like hold back from buying things for the baby. And then the last one is a fairly recent one too, and that has been cotton mouth. I have had an extremely dry throat especially when I'm like wake up in the middle of the night, like when I have those moments where I can't sleep and I wake up at like midnight and I'm up until like 4 or 5 in the morning. My throat is super dry, or I'll wake up in the morning and like I just need water. Even though I drank like 3-4 bottles of water before I went to sleep, the cotton mouth is horrible. But yeah, those were my first and second trimester symptom updates. I am in a way looking forward to the third trimester, because that just means it's 1 week closer to meeting my son, and I really can't wait. But I will try and film a third trimester symptom update if I can, but if not, I'm pretty sure those of you who watch my videos and know me, you'll definitely hear more about it. But thank you guys for watching. I will see you for the next video. Thanks, guys.